As-salaam wa-alaikum, brothers and sisters. Welcome to Year 6 of the 17 Verses podcast. I'm your host, Maher Haq. In this podcast, we take a small selection from the Quran every day and recite it to you in plain English, so you can get a small slice of God's word while you go about your day. By averaging 17 verses per day, we're able to break the Quran down into manageable pieces and finish it in 1 year. If you enjoy the podcast, please help spread the word. Tell your friends and family, subscribe in iTunes or Stitcher or wherever you get your podcasts, and write us a review. Show notes and a text episode can be found at 17verses.com. That's the numbers 17verses.com. Today's selection is from Surah 3, Âli Imrân, or the Family of Imran, verses 130 through 143. These verses deal with the prohibition against usury, then move on to Allah's love of charitable people, and how believers are promised to have the upper hand, though not without encountering trials and tribulations. Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. O believers, do not live on usury which is compounded over and over again. Have fear of Allah so that you may prosper. Guard yourselves against the fire which is prepared for the unbelievers. Obey Allah and His Messenger so that you may find mercy. Rush towards the forgiveness from your Lord, to a paradise as vast as the heavens and the earth, which is prepared for the righteous people. They are those who spend generously in the way of Allah, whether they are in prosperity or in adversity, who control their anger and forgive other people, for Allah loves such charitable people, who if they commit an indecency or wrong their own souls, earnestly remember Allah and seek forgiveness for their sins. For no one can forgive sins except Allah, and those who do not knowingly persist in something wrong which they have done. Such people will be rewarded with forgiveness from their Lord, beside gardens beneath which rivers flow, to live therein forever. How excellent is the reward for such laborers! As for those who reject the divine revelation, there have been many examples before you. Travel through the earth and see what was the end of those who rejected the truth. The Quran is a clear declaration to mankind, a guidance and an admonition to those who fear Allah. Do not grieve and get disheartened, for you will have the upper hand if you are the believers. If you have suffered a wound, so did the enemy. We alternate these days of varying fortunes among mankind, so that Allah may know the true believers and take witnesses to the truth, or grant martyrdom, from among you. For Allah does not love the unjust people, and that Allah may purge the believers and annihilate the unbelievers. Do you think that you will enter paradise without going through the trials? Allah has not yet tested you to see who among you strive hard for His cause and show patience for His sake. You certainly used to wish for death before you confronted it. Now you have seen it with your own eyes, what it is like. Ameen. This concludes today's episode of the 17 Verses podcast. I hope that this selection helps increase your understanding of the Holy Quran just a little bit. If you like the podcast, you can subscribe in iTunes or Stitcher and write us a review. Or you can grab the RSS feed and put it into your own podcast app. The show notes, including a text version of this episode, can be found by going to 17verses.com. That's the numbers 17verses.com. Thank you, and be well.